Good morning. I'm Brian Foxworth with Geneva Financial Home Loans, and today is Friday. You're on the ride with the mortgage guy. On Fridays we do Frugal Friday, and looking back over the past few weeks when I started doing this, and I realized I haven't gone over for Frugal Friday how you can have your closing costs paid for by the seller. Now, we went over this past week a refresher of the fastest way to get things done was to get all the documents to me when I asked them up front. And that way I can make sure before you get into a contract, if you're buying a home, you do a contract, we see exactly what type of program you have, whether it's conventional, FHA, VA, or rural housing, or one of our other programs, and how much down payment is required. We went over different ways you can have down payment taken care of. And also, the last thing we do today is how you can have your closing costs taken care of. Now, the traditional way is that you have money in the savings account. Not a lot of people have that because it could be thousands of dollars for your closing costs on top of whatever your down payment is if you're not a veteran or not purchasing in a rural area, because VA and USDA have zero down payment. So the next thing is this: when you have a realtor on your side of the equation, a lot of buyers don't realize that they don't have to pay for the realtor's commissions. In South Carolina, the seller always pays for realtor commissions because they already have a listing agent, and they've already set up with the listing agent how much percentage they're willing to pay in commissions. Usually it's 7% or less of the total amount they're selling the home for. So when there's a realtor on your side, the seller's realtor is called a listing agent, your realtor is called a buyer's agent. Then the buyer's agent and the listing agent split that commission 7%. The listing agent gets 3.5%, and then your agent, the buyer's agent, gets 3.5% as well. So that's one way you save money, is the seller pays your real estate commissions. The other part is, depending on the type of loan program you're using, the seller can pay some or all of your closing costs. For example, if you're using a conventional loan, then the seller can pay up to 3% of the loan amount. I take that back, 3% of the purchase price. Look at that, VA and USDA. The loan amount is the same as the purchase price. So 3% of the purchase price towards your closing costs on a conventional loan. On a VA loan, it's 4% of the purchase price towards your closing costs the seller can pay. That means they're allowed to pay, doesn't mean they're required to pay. And for FHA and USDA, which is rural housing, they're allowed to pay up to 6% of your closing cost. 6% of the purchase price, I should say, towards your closing cost. Apologize, I'm doing some road construction signs here. Got a little distracted. So, how this is frugal is this. Because, as this past week we went over in the previous videos, you already know what type of program you're going to have and how you get your down payment taken care of, whether down payments from you or from a gift that says FHA or conventional, or if it's going to be from down payment assistance. Then you can also have your closing costs taken care of by the seller, which is really, really good. So there's different ways to make that happen. Now, when you and your realtor make the offer, if you don't already have a realtor, I put you in touch with a great realtor, depending on which side of the state you're in, which area of the state you're in. I have different realtors I work with in different parts of the state. So they work on your behalf and make sure they get the best deal for you. Now, the listing agent may be a very, very nice person, but they're under contract to get the best deal for the seller. So that's why it's always a great idea to have your own realtor. So here's one last way to have your closing costs taken care of where you don't have to pay for it. If you're using rural housing, most of the state of South Carolina is rural. Using rural housing, we call USDA, and the appraised value is higher, a good bit higher than what the purchase price is. We don't know that until like midway through the loan process. Then we are able to, if you want, and you don't have the money and the sellers don't have the ability to pay for closing costs, we can increase the loan amount only on the USDA rural housing loan to cover your closing cost. Only if the appraised value is that much higher, the same amount as what you're wanting to get paid for the closing cost, that much higher than the purchase price. So that's one way. Here's the last way, and I say last way because it's really a last resort. If you don't have the money for the closing cost, the seller is not able to pay closing cost, if the appraised value comes in, sometimes it comes in right for the same exact amount of what the purchase price is, then another way we can take care of your closing costs for you is to increase the interest rate so that it creates what we call a lender credit yield spread. And that lender credit yield spread is completely shared with you to pay for your closing costs. And it's different for every single loan because your interest rate is based on your credit score, your income to debt ratio, that income ratio we call it, and the type of program you're using, how much down payment you have. All those different factors come into play. So I can't just give you a formula right here on this video of if you have this much higher of an interest rate, it equals this much money. It's different for every situation. So how you get started on this Frugal Friday is give me a call at 803-446-3270, 803-446-3270, and that allows us to have a question and answer time where I can answer all your questions and let you know exactly what it would take for your scenario to get this taken care of and what the different options are. Look forward to talking to you, 803-446-3270 or BrianFoxworth.com if you want to apply online. Have a great day. Enjoy this beautiful fall weather. I think it's a high of 82 today. It's 55 degrees right now, and man, it feels great. Y'all have a good one.